Hey now, Tough Skin Soft Heart family. Welcome to another edition of Tough Skin Soft Heart. Hey now, Tough Skin Soft Heart family. I am so grateful that we are gathering. Hey now, Tough Skin Soft Heart family. Welcome back to another episode. And really just welcome back to our community table. Hey now, Tough Skin Soft Heart family. Welcome to another edition of the Tough Skin Soft Heart podcast. This is your sacred space, your healing space, your recovery space. This is where we come and we gather as a collective, as a community to recharge, to sometimes unravel, y'all. Let's just be honest, right? Because we understand that as folks who are difference makers, community healers, change agents in your homes and in your marketplaces and in your community, sometimes as the hope dealer that you are, you don't often have a plethora of safe spaces where you get to become unglued, where you get to show up even when you're not all right. Or better yet, you get to show up and you don't have to tuck, hide, pretend, omit, cover up the fact that you're not all right. This is a healing space that has been curated specifically with leaders like you and me in mind, top of mind. This podcast, the heartbeat of this podcast, is making sure that those who lead, love, and serve every day in transformational ways, those that are hope dealers everywhere their feet tread, that you have space, room. You see, if you're watching this, you see me making room with my hands, that you have room, agency, and a space of rest to tend to you, to put your own mask on first, to be as intentionally good to you as you are the people that are connected to your life and your leadership. I want to make sure that this podcast is not just a space, but a reminder that one, we are not robots. That two, that even though we know we absolutely can do hard things, that even folks who slay hard things need respite and need recovery. And so this is an investment into our emotional well-being, our spiritual well-being, our mental well-being, and we have fun as we do it. And so I'm just glad that you have said yes to my invitation to make this podcast part of your weekly practice of checking on your strong friend, because y'all know y'all my strong friends, right? And I'm honored to be one of your strong friends. And so we have been talking all month. This is the final Wednesday in the month of April. And all month long, we have been tackling head and heart realities and inspiration and strategy connected to Stress Awareness Month. We know that April is Stress Awareness Month, and it's been Stress Awareness Month. It was established as Stress Awareness Month in 1992. And what was really interesting to me is I started to do some research around the origin of April as Stress Awareness Month. I've been cluing in on that word aware, because one of the things that I was discovering in my research is that often experiencing stress is human. Let's just put that out there, right? We can all attest to the fact that experiencing, navigating, encountering things that cause us stress, that's human. But often, human beings are not aware that stress is present, or have not made the connection between why stress is present and how that stress may be manifesting in their life. Sometimes stress manifests itself in physically, like I've shared with you all, that sometimes when I am experiencing stress and the stress has exceeded a healthy rate for me, this eye right here, my left eye, will start to flutter or twitch uncontrollably. And that's one of those hardwired, built-in cues and clues that my body gives me to let me know Shane, you need to slow down, pay attention to this because this is bothering our complete system. And because you've been overriding these other system cues, we're going to now flutter so that you can be cognizant of what's happening and how it's affecting us, spirit, soul, body. And so all month long, we've been talking about stress awareness, navigating uncertainty, asking ourselves questions, doing an assessment to figure out where we are, what has happened to us, or how have the behaviors or choices of others impacted and presented stressors to us. And so this week, I think that's enough review because this week I want to talk about and wrestle together with this question. What do you do when stress is caused by an I don't know? Ooh, isn't that good? Just think about that. Don't rush to my next point. Just think about that. Let's just sit and snuggle into that real quick. What do you do when what is causing you stress is connected to lack of knowledge, lack of direction, lack of clarity in a particular area of your life and your leadership? You know, sometimes we tend to think of stress in its most cataclysmic forms, but stress shows up in a mild, medium, and hot. It's like stress shows up like my salsa, right? Some it's mild, medium, and it's hot. And so there are some times where we experience some stressors that are in that mild to medium and they can progress to hot, but not knowing something that you truly maybe need to know or lacking wisdom or direction or clarity or discernment can cause you stress, can't it? Because as human beings, we like to know. Not knowing is uncomfortable. And so even today, as I am talking with you, I am broadcasting from the city of Detroit. I am back in my hometown, my beloved hometown, for a conference that is specifically designed for founders and makers who want to lead companies that are not huge, but they want to lead companies that are great. So most of the founders that are here at this particular conference that I'm at have 75 or less employees. And it's really this space to collaborate, to cross-pollinate ideas, to network and build relationships. And one of the reasons that I chose early on, I think I registered for this conference about 6 months ago, was because there's certain aspects in my life as a founder and as a CEO that I'm experiencing some I don't knows. And while that's my space of learning and slash discomfort, what is yours? What is that space of I don't know, where you see question marks all around your head, all around your thought process? It's like, I don't know. What I know for sure is that I don't know, right? And so not knowing can cause us stress, right? Because we want to know. And so I just want to share with you a few things that I have been doing in this season of my life in leadership where I am navigating some I don't knows. And I'd also like to hear what you're doing. I want to tune in and eavesdrop on what you're doing. How are you being aware, right? This is Stress Awareness Month. So being aware of how not knowing something has been causing some stress. And then what are you doing to address it? And so that takes me to the first thing that I've been doing. I have been diligently working to elevate and magnify my agency over my deficit. You know, often when there's something that we don't know, either know how to do or what direction to take, or we don't know how to activate a next level of growth or opportunity, we tend to get stumped and stuck in what it is we don't know. I propose to you that we focus less on the deficit and focus more on our agency. So for me, for example, there are some areas in my journey as a founder where I don't know how to get to the next level. I know that what got us here won't get us there. But child, learning how to get from here to there has a whole lot of question marks around it. And so rather than focusing on that deficit or the question, I've been saying, Well, if I don't know, where can I can learn. I may not know everything today, but I have agency, capacity, and resource to grow and to learn. And so I've been letting what I don't know guide me to spaces where I can learn. And so, how might you do the same? Maybe it's through podcasts, maybe it's through books, both hardcover and audible books. Even on the way to the conference, I was listening to a podcast. I was listening to a variety of YouTube videos by some thinkers and thought leaders that I really, really respect and that are at the level I aspire to be. I read a book over lunch. I've been putting myself in spaces to learn and to grow, hence me being at this conference. And so take a moment right now. And if you've been meditating more heavily, if it's been tilted towards the deficit, I want you to start to invest this week in resolution by way of learning. What are those resources, books, people that are accessible to me that can be a source of my learning? Here's another thing. Huddle. We live in a day and age where it's not 6 degrees of separation, y'all. I want to say it's like 1.25 degrees of separation. That there are ways that you can ask to have a sit down or conversation, Zoom coffee, Zoom iced tea with someone, to learn, to huddle, to have some conversations. While I'm at this conference, today is it's a mixer. The conference formally starts tomorrow, but I know that sometimes the magic is not what happens in the formal, it's in the informal. A friend of mine just posted this recently on her Instagram. She said, "I firmly believe that the best knowledge at a conference happens over happy hour at the bar." And that was just her perspective. But, it's often in these informal clusters and huddles that the magic can happen. I'll give you an example. There is another woman-owned business. She actually lives abroad, but she's done significant work with her product line going into a variety of retailers. Our paths have crossed in business once, but as I'm looking into my next, I'm living in my now, but I'm looking towards my next. I said I would love to have a huddle with her, just a virtual huddle, because she lives overseas. I'm here in the US. And so I reached out to her over Instagram and I asked her if she would be interested in a huddle. And not only that, y'all, but I added this to it. And I told her, and I am willing to compensate you for your time. Because that's something else that I've learned. Successful people often get pulled on in a variety of ways. And so sometimes what helps someone to know that I'm serious about this huddle, is that not only am I looking to extract something from you or to learn something from you, but I'm also willing to make the investment to compensate you for your time. So as you think about something that you don't know, who does? Doesn't have to be in your circle, in your neighborhood, in your community, in your company. Who knows what you aspire to know? Who's where you aspire to be? And how might you just connect with them? Y'all, the lines are drawn in water. You have access through social media to people to ask questions. And don't be afraid to offer to compensate people for their time. Last thing, because I got like a minute and a half left. Take steps with what you do know. Recently, a friend of mine showed me that she was cleaning up her office and she found our very first piece of apparel we ever produced. It was a Girl You Have Greatness shirt. And y'all, I almost wanted to cover my head because I'm like, I've learned so much in apparel and textiles since then, and I almost cringed, like, girl, don't put that on social. But then I said, no, Shan, be proud of where you started. Be proud of those humble beginnings, because it shows you stepped forward with what you knew and what you had at the time. And you wouldn't be here if you weren't first there. What got me here won't get me there. But let's be clear. I wouldn't be here if I hadn't taken a step back there. All right. And so Those are the 3 things I encourage you to do in this how to handle stress connected to what you don't know. What you don't know, you can learn. Invest in your learning through free and paid resources and connections, and expand your huddle. Expand who you're networking with and who you're connecting with, and honor every step. Because sometimes, y'all, we only get enough light for the step that we're on. That's my time, y'all. I need to go and take a little nap before I go to this mixer and put myself in the mind of a student. I'm thinking about you. Until next time. Podcasts during the month of April are sponsored in part by University of Michigan Health West. As part of one of the world's leading healthcare organizations, University of Michigan Health West is relentlessly advancing health to serve West Michigan. This has always been their hallmark, a passion for patients and keeping them at the heart of everything they do. Their innovations change care, and their care changes lives. For more information, visit uofmhealthwest.org.